9 a.m. plus a few minutes. We're a little bit late. We had, I will share with the us here, Representative John Ressman passed away this morning. One of our associate members of the House. And so we had a little bit extra time talking through in our caucus, and I'm sure others will today too. So we are a little bit late, but we appreciate your attendance, and we do have one item on the agenda today. Any action on items previously heard will be dealt with probably Wednesday, but at least not today. Our two items on our agenda today, and I'm going to go ahead and move to get a motion on approval of the minutes for the 2nd of the month, the 9th, the 11th, the 13th, and the 16th, Mr. Vice President, Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I move the approval of the minutes as prepared.
Is there a second? Seconded by Representative Pishney.
Just for the record, Mr. Chair, I think you omitted February 4th, but that's on the list.
I did.
So just wanted to make sure we had
that one covered too. Yeah. So it's been moved and seconded for the approval of all 6 of these minutes that have been sent to you. All in favor, say aye. And it passes. So they will be posted and approved. Our one hearing today is for House Bill 2769. So I'll open the hearing for HB 2769, and Mr. Revisor, if you would give us a brief of the brief.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. House Bill 2769 pertains to subordinate service taxing areas. These are taxing areas within a municipality, primarily under counties. Under KSA 19-121, a Board of County Commissioners can create a distinct taxing area to provide services. Under that statute, they're generally services that a township was providing, and then the township has been disorganized. And so instead of creating some special municipality for those services, the county goes in and just creates a subordinate service taxing area. And so it identifies the boundaries for that area and levies a tax on the resident on the property in that area to pay for the service that was previously being provided so that service can continue. And then it just has the oversight of the Board of County Commissioners. So that's generally what we're talking about here. To the extent that a governing body is appointed by the municipality for that taxing area, House Bill 2769 would require that all the members of that governing body be residents of the area that is subject to that service taxing area. And this would apply for those areas in which there's a property tax that's being levied, or the governing body has the authority to levy a property tax, or if there's an established budget and expenditures for those services that's overseen by that governing body. Then House Bill 2769 is intended, I believe, to ensure that all members of that governing body are residents of that taxing area that's been established by the municipality. I've talked about the counties. The bill does apply to cities as well. If a city were to create such a taxing area under its authority, then this would apply in those situations as well. With that, if the bill is enacted, it goes into effect on July 1st this summer, and I'll be happy to stand for any questions.
Questions for the revisor? Seeing any yes, sir. Representative Gardner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this would allow either a city or county to establish a smaller unit similar to what the township system was, but I assume this is after townships have been dissolved. And then management of the budget is by a governing body from that area. And are those people appointed? Or can they be elected? Or is that an option of the county or city that's establishing this?
So the authority to create these subordinate service taxing areas is already in law. They can already do that. This bill isn't authorizing that. That's already established that they can do so. The bill talks in terms of appointing a governing body, and I believe that's how it would work. I don't know of any subordinate service taxing areas that have a appointed governing body, but if a governing body were to be appointed for one of these areas, then the bill would require all members of that governing body to be residents of that taxing area. And because these are subordinate service taxing areas, they are all still under the oversight of the municipality that established them, whether that be the city council of the city that did it or the Board of County Commissioners if it's a county creation.
If I could ask one more question, then these services that are established here, that is established by the county or the city? Or are those services established by this board that is appointed? And what would an example be, like, fire protection, police protection?
The
streets?
services would be established by the municipality, and the resolution ordinance creating this service taxing area, it would specify the services that are to be provided. Because there's usually a levy, a property tax levy, and so then you have to specify the purposes for which that tax levy is being imposed on the residents or the property owners in that area. One example might be the township was doing roads out in the county, and the township's dissolved. And so the Board of County Commissioners creates one of these taxing areas for road improvement and maintenance. And so then levies a tax on the property in that area to maintain the roads in that area that's no longer being provided by the township.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Anyone else? Thank you, Jason. First, we have oral proponent, and that is Carolyn Cahar, 33rd District House. Carolyn?
Thank you, Chairman Berquist, Vice Chairman Blex, and members of the Local Government Committee. I appear before you today in support of HB 2769. This bill requires any person who has been appointed to a board with a tax levy authority to live in the area that is subject to that tax. There is such a board in Wyandotte County and perhaps others throughout the state. The board in Wyandotte County is comprised of 11 members who vote on a budget setting the tax to be levied. Then they vote on the allocation of revenue they've received through taxation. Of the 11 board members, only 6 live in the district being taxed by this board. Nearly half of the board members set a tax for an area in which they do not live. They set the mill levy for a tax that they do not pay. The members of this board are appointed, so there is no election, no recourse. This is taxation without representation, a principle our country has condemned since its founding. Please help me address this concern by passing HB 2769 favorably out of committee at your earliest convenience. Thank you so much for allowing me to address you all today, and I'll stand for questions at the appropriate time.
Thank you, ma'am. Are there any questions for Carolyn? Yes, Representative Cahar. Yes, Representative Collins.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yeah, I see your point, and I agree with it that they should be residents, but do they have a hard time finding people to serve on this board? Because I've seen in my experience, it's hard to get people to do things sometimes.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Representative. Not necessarily. So in the fabric of how this board is constructed, the commissioners are required to appoint 5 of these members from outside of the district. And so all they would have to do is change their bylaws to appoint people from within the district.
So they specifically appoint people from outside the district. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Representative. Representative Blex.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Representative, for your testimony. And the only thing I see as a concern, certainly I support them living in there, but they're voting on a budget and setting a tax levy. I guess, does the process go then on to the commissioners for a final approval? Because we got people that are appointed at unelected setting budgets. Explain a little bit how that might work in your area.
Thank you. Thank you, Representative. It does go to the commission. The commission must approve their budget. And so there's no changing the budget once it's set forth to the commission.
Thank you for that clarification.
Not seeing, oh, yes, Representative Brownlee Page.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. First of all, thank you for speaking on that. I'm a resident of that county, and most of the people feel that way. There are people who don't live in our area representing us, and they sometimes, to me, my opinion, don't have our best interest. And taxation without representation, that's not a good thing, and we struggle with that. And I think they should live in the area, because we're being taxed out of our yin, and then we want it to be from people who actually live there and know what we're going through and what we feel and what's to the best of our interests. So again, thank you for bringing this up.
Representative Wolf.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. My question is, why was it set up this way to begin with? Do you have any idea why the commission set it up so that they had outside entities weighing in?
Thank you for the question. My understanding is they wanted each commissioner to have a representative. That was the reason. They didn't want to have only a few commissioners with a representative on the board. They wanted every commissioner. And so this was designed during the consolidation process.
So are some of the commissioners outside of the area? I mean, are they for different districts and then they're combining together for the whole?
Thank you. That's correct. So this taxing district doesn't encompass the entire county, only a portion of the county. And so every commissioner throughout the county, whether they represent that area of the county or not, are appointing a member to the board.
Thank you. So one more.
Okay,
So
sure.
it's also that way then for their districts too. They have to take what people from this district are saying for their districts. Yes? No?
Thank you, Chair. No. And so this is only one way. So we have, if I'm okay to get into the weeds just a little bit, you have
Get into the
every.
weeds as far as you can in the next 3 or 4 minutes.
Okay, I'll keep it short. So this is every single commissioner on the county commission appoints a member to the board, as does the mayor. The taxing district only encompasses the residents who live in Piper School District, the residents who live in the city of Edwardsville, the residents who live in Turner, and a little portion that live in this gray area in between. And so it's, I'd say less than a third of the county that's actually being taxed by this board, but every commissioner throughout the entire county appoints a member to the board. Now, how the board's set up is with those 11 members, 2 are from Piper, 2 are from Edwardsville, 2 are from Turner, 1 is from Bonner Springs, and 4 are from Kansas City, Kansas School District. And so only 6 of those board members are paying the tax that they're setting the mill levy for, and 5 of them are not subject to that tax.
Ranking Member Featherston.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is the Wyandotte County Library Board we're referring to. Are there people from outside of Wyandotte County serving on the board now?
No, not as voting members. They
And is
don't
the-
serve on the board.
Okay, so is the whole county able to use the Wyandotte County Library System?
Yes, just like anyone could go to Johnson County Library or a library in Missouri. The libraries are open to everyone.
Thank you.
Other questions? Other comments? Thank you, Representative, for your testimony, and we may ask you to stand for questions, but I don't think so. But hang out for a minute.
Thank you.
And we have other proponent testimony, oral by WebEx. Stephanie Barton, are you here?
Yes. Yes, I
Stephanie,
am.
Okay, we can hear you. If you go ahead and give your testimony, that'd be great.
All right. Thank you, Chairman and members of the committee. Thank you for this chance to show my support for HB 2769. This bill brings accountability and fair representation to all communities in Kansas. For over 25 years in my community, appointed board members have been voting to tax communities they do not reside in. This is not representation. This is taxation without a stake in the outcome, and it is wrong. HB 2769 simply requires that if a city, county, or unified city and county government creates one of these taxing areas and appoints a governing body, every member must actually live inside the taxing area. This applies only when the property taxes are being imposed on those residents or when the board is authorized to set the budget and set those tax dollars on local services. This common sense measure brings real accountability home to all communities in Kansas. Today, I strongly urge you to pass HB 2769, and thank you for your time.
Thank you, ma'am. Any questions for Stephanie? Not seeing any. Thank you for your testimony. And now I will ask, is Karen Shebe available? Is Karen Shebe online? Okay. If you're trying to speak, you might check your mic. All right. We'll come back and try you one more time here in just a little bit. We have for proponents is these and written only. Are there any other proponent testimonies to be given from the audience? Yes, sir. Come to the mic and state your name.
Spencer Duncan, League of Kansas Municipalities. I did written only, but I want to provide one clarification. I want to give a micro example of where this can be beneficial because we forget about some of these things. So a BID district, a business improvement district, is actually also considered a taxing authority. If you have created it and given someone the authority to collect, even though they're fees from people, it's a mandatory fee. Sometimes they're optional, but sometimes they're mandatory. And that under the law is considered one of these taxing authorities. And so when you look at this bill, we think about what they call the bigger commissions a lot, but whether it's a CID committee or a TIF committee or a BID committee, those are also all apply to this. And while I think most cities have built in some protections to make sure they're local, this would also clarify that you'd better only have local people who are administering those types of subordinate taxing authorities too. So that's why we are in support of this, to kind of make sure that we've stood up here many times before, especially when we talk about the county issues, to why you have voting rights and why you don't. But we firmly believe that if you're going to have taxing authority over people, you should live in that community also. So just wanted to clarify that.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Okay, so I live right by Oak Park Mall, and anytime we buy something near Oak Park Mall, we pay an extra %. Which I assume the city
So that's the
established.
community improvement district, and that money is going back to the developer. That extra %'s going back to the developer. And when that was created, they very likely had a committee that made a recommendation to whether they should do that or not. Sometimes those committees continue in existence, even if they never meet. Most times they don't. But if they do, if there's a question or an extension or any kind of issue that needs to be resolved, that committee could be put back together and met. And so this would make sure that the people who are making those decisions are actually live in that community when those recommendations are made.
So
Or if they're administering the CID.
So I'm assuming this was approved by the whole Overland Park City Council.
Yes.
most
eventually
of
went to the-
which don't live in Ward 2 where the mall is.
Right. Now, the macro of this would be, and again, I think these are usually protected because in state law, but for instance, there are transit authorities, right, that have the ability to put a mill levy on folks. Some of those don't have to go back through their local governing body. They make the decision, it becomes what your mill levy is. Now, again, most of those have to appoint people, but it's possible through loopholes or just oversight, you get one or two people who sneak in who turns out, yeah, I actually live a county over, but I serve on this busing authority because I'm an expert in the industry and they wanted an expert, right? So that can happen. Again, I don't think it happens a lot, but sometimes it does. And this would at least make everyone go back through all their bylaws and make sure that they do have to live in that area.
All right, thanks for your extra help there. We have also written only testimony from Aaron Mays from the Kansas Association of Counties and private citizens Sam Boyles, Stephanie Pujol Birch, and Dwayne Beth, and Cheryl Yates. If we have 100 in a list, we usually just say we've got a list of a bunch of people. But we've got just a few, and those are all proponent. Now we'll move to neutral testimony. And before we do that, we'll try again one more time for Karen Sheeby. Karen, are you there? Thanks. Okay. All right. And we have your testimony probably on file, so we'll keep that in mind. Now to neutral, written only testimony is Jeff Blubaugh of the Board of County Commissioners in Sedgwick County. You can read that testimony. Are there any other neutral testimonies to be given here in committee? If you do, please come to the microphone and state your name. Okay. So moving on from neutral, are there any opponent testimonies to be given that weren't otherwise submitted? Not seeing or hearing any. We will close the hearing on HB 2769 and make reference to the testimonies of all these as we consider this at a near future meeting. And not having any other business to tend to, we are adjourned.